For nearly 300,000 years, Homo sapiens, also known as humans, have existed on Earth. While this may seem like a long time, it's important to note that approximately 65% of our planet has yet to be fully explored. As such, it's possible that other life forms exist beyond our knowledge. In this video, we'll explore the concept of a crystal city, which was reportedly discovered beneath Antarctica by Admiral Richard Byrd. Richard Byrd was an esteemed American naval officer and explorer, who made significant contributions to aviation, polar exploration, and logistics organization. His expeditions were credited with reaching both the North and South Pole by air, making him a pioneering figure in aviation history. Additionally, he was recognized for discovering Mount Sidley, the largest dormant volcano in Antarctica. On May 9, 1926, Byrd, along with his co-pilot Floyd Bennett, flew a trimotor airplane, the Josephine Ford, from Spitsbergen, Norway to the North Pole and back, completing the journey in an impressive 15.5 hours. Richard Byrd's successful flight to the North Pole marked the beginning of a remarkable 30-year career as a celebrated public figure, prominent aviator, and polar explorer. His remarkable achievement earned him accolades such as the Congressional Medal of Honor and a promotion in rank in the U.S. Navy, despite being retired. He became the subject of songs and poems, and some parents even named their children after him. However, his remarkable exploits didn't end with his transpolar and transatlantic flight. Richard Byrd utilized his earlier expeditions as a springboard for a long and illustrious career in exploration and scientific discovery in Antarctica. As early as 1925, he foresaw that airplanes would be the ideal mode of transport for exploring both the Arctic and Antarctic regions. He leveraged his heroic status to secure support for 5 expeditions to Antarctica, which resulted in a lasting scientific legacy and established an enduring American presence on the continent. Despite his remarkable achievement of flying over the North Pole in 1926, some scientists cast doubt on his accomplishment. Despite receiving international acclaim, some skeptics publicly doubted the validity of Byrd's achievement in flying over the North Pole. There were suspicions that Byrd had turned back before reaching the pole, possibly due to an oil leak in one of the engines. Byrd admitted to the oil leak, but he maintained that it occurred near the North Pole, and that he and Floyd Bennett continued their flight. The controversy generated by this expedition, however, enabled Byrd to secure enough funding from private donors and corporations to embark on the largest and most ambitious expedition to Antarctica. During the period of 1946 to 1947, President Franklin Roosevelt developed a close friendship with Byrd and became involved in the U.S. Navy's transatlantic expedition. Roosevelt concluded that the United States had a national interest in establishing a presence in Antarctica, and with his support, Byrd led the 6-month-long Antarctic expedition, Operation High Jump. This was Byrd's 4th expedition, and it involved 4,700 men, 13 ships, and 25 airplanes. Byrd's team managed to cover around 60% of the Antarctic coast and discovered almost 1/4 of previously unseen territory. Other technological advancements, such as cold weather clothing, vehicles, and fuel for overland travel, further facilitated scientific exploration and opened up the continent's interior. The expedition, Operation High Jump, had 3 main objectives. Firstly, it aimed to train personnel and equipment under Antarctic conditions. Secondly, it aimed to consolidate and expand the United States claims in Antarctica by investigating potential sites for U.S. bases. Finally, the expedition aimed to develop techniques for establishing and maintaining these bases while also extending scientific knowledge of Antarctica. Operation High Jump was primarily a military exercise, which involved a large number of naval vessels and aircraft being used to chart and take aerial photographs of a vast area of Antarctica. Although Operation High Jump was a relatively brief expedition, lasting from October 21, 1955, it had a significant impact on future Antarctic expeditions, the development of permanent Antarctic legislation, and international scientific understanding and cooperation. Now, you may be wondering how this relates to the theory of an ancient alien city. It is believed by some that there is an opening to the Earth's center in the Alaska Range and that this was an entry and exit point for flying sources. The theory goes that Byrd flew into the hollow Earth during Operation High Jump and discovered a crystal city under Antarctica. The hollow Earth theory has evolved over time, but its universal core belief is that the Earth is hollow. The Earth's crust is the outermost layer, and beneath it lies the center of gravity, where gravity is said to be reversed. It is believed that below this gravity center, there is an entirely different world with its own continents and a central sun. This world is reportedly inhabited by various creatures, including thin gray aliens, ancient cultures like the Vikings of Greenland, and even Nazis who fled Allied forces after World War II. Admiral Byrd's handwritten diary and notebook were discovered after his passing, and many sources claim that it was his son who found it. However, the diary was actually discovered in 1996 by Ohio State University archivist Ryman Gollin while cataloging Byrd's papers for the university. The diary reportedly contains entries detailing Byrd's alleged discovery of a crystal city under Antarctica during Operation High Jump, leading some to connect it to the hollow Earth theory. Byrd's diary was an important tool that he used to prepare for his expeditions. It served as a means of communication with his co-pilot when the noise from the plane's engines made it difficult to speak. In addition to this, Byrd also recorded his navigational calculations in the diary. Photographs of these important pages were included in a book, along with a copy of Byrd's official report on the expedition to the National Geographic Society. Byrd's diary was a personal record of his reflections, observations, and thoughts about various aspects of his life, including his career, family, colleagues, and competitors. It was not intended for public consumption but rather as a tool for recording his ideas and plans. Despite this, many sources have pointed to his diary as evidence of his alleged discovery of a shining city made of crystals beneath Antarctica. According to these sources, Byrd was guided to this mysterious location by flying saucer-shaped objects, and once there, he was greeted by an extraterrestrial being he referred to as the Master. According to reports, during his supposed encounter with an extraterrestrial being known as the Master, Byrd was told of the aliens' disappointment with humans' use of nuclear weapons and their hope for humans to stop. Some UFO researchers find this account significant since it came after World War II and coincided with the rise of modern UFO sightings. After the operation, Byrd was allegedly taken to a government facility where he was instructed to keep his discovery classified. However, there is currently no evidence to support claims that Byrd found a hidden civilization in Antarctica. In fact, his diary only includes accounts of his expeditions from 1925 to 1927, such as his Greenland expedition, North Pole flight, and transatlantic flight. The only significant discovery made during Operation High Jump was Mount Sibley, a volcano. Nonetheless, this expedition has fueled and circulated conspiracy theories which will be debunked shortly. There is a theory known as the hollow Earth theory which suggests that there is a hidden civilization located at the center of the Earth. In relation to this theory, the Polar Archives program, which focuses on gathering and preserving records related to polar exploration, reached out to the Byrd Polar and Climate Research Center to obtain their perspective on the matter. The Polar Archives, a program that collects and preserves documents related to exploring polar regions, reached out to the Byrd Polar and Climate Research Center for their thoughts on the hollow Earth theory. The response they received noted that while questionable theories have been proposed in the past and will continue to be suggested in the future, science has a way of eventually discarding or refining them. Some theories may initially seem plausible, such as the belief that the Earth is flat, but are later proven false through overwhelming evidence. In science, claims must be refutable and based on observations in the natural world, a principle that has existed since Sir Francis Bacon's time in the 15th and 16th centuries. Similarly, the acceptance of scientific claims is ultimately determined by the consensus of experts in the respective field. This consensus-building process involves scientists presenting their research through posters and talks at conferences, followed by peer-reviewed manuscripts being submitted for publication. This process of publication and review is crucial for the acceptance of scientific claims within the scientific community. It is important to note that this process is different from the egalitarian views commonly held in the United States, where all ideas are considered equal and valid. In the scientific community, experts establish accepted claims that are commonly known as facts within their field of work. However, outside of this community, there are questionable theories that have been around for centuries, such as the idea that the Earth is hollow. These theories lack evidence and can be easily refuted by satellite data and the first-hand accounts of many people, including researchers from Ohio State who have traveled to the Arctic and Antarctic. Despite being easily refuted by evidence, questionable theories such as the hollow Earth theory and associated conspiracy theories persist. These claims often assert that photographic evidence is fraudulent and the military restricts access to Antarctica. Such claims lack a scientific basis and are propagated by individuals who claim they are irrefutable. Unlike in everyday life where all ideas are considered equal, science relies on evidence, previous research, and the expertise of professionals. Thus, the scientific community does not consider claims that lack evidence and are not based on sound scientific principles. The scientific process involves a rigorous approach to eliminating poorly formed theories like the flat Earth and hollow Earth theories. Despite centuries of evidence against these theories, no scientific evidence has been found in the polar archives to support them. However, some articles claim to have discovered a comprehensive and compelling collection of never-before-seen, highly classified photos from birds' expeditions. These images supposedly provide concrete evidence of an entire forgotten civilization, including its architecture, artifacts, and technologies. However, the article notes that some of these images may have been enhanced or generated by AI for quality purposes. The article links to a book called Mysterious Antarctica, which was published by Lost Books in Canada. The e-book also contains around 50 pages of text generated by AI models called FairSec and GPT-Neo X1. May wonder why publish such articles that are based on false information. Boucher's intention was to encourage people to question their beliefs and reevaluate their assumptions about how humans can use new technologies for negative purposes. He wanted to demonstrate how disinformation operates by employing real-life examples in non-threatening areas such as lost civilizations in Antarctica. Therefore, the verdict is that Richard Byrd did not come across a crystal city during his expedition, but we cannot ignore the fact that this theory is thought-provoking. This does not imply that extraterrestrial beings do not exist. We have much more to learn about our planet and the universe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.